In the name of Allah, hello my dear students in our distance learning by Mr. مسعد Sabir and the English supervisor Mr. Ahmed Shirbin. Al-Aus Private School for Boys, Traveler 6, Lesson 20, page 18, Grammar. Now let's go to this page in your notes. Please, my dear students, open your notes on this page and follow me to know or differentiate between the active and the passive voice. Okay. At first, before we are going to explain or differentiate between the active and the passive, you must know the forms and uses for all tenses. Like you see in the table, there is the present infinitive, and the present infinitive, we need to finish this work by tomorrow. This is an example in active. When we wanted to change it into passive, we can say this work needs to be finished by tomorrow. Here in the active, we must know that we must start the sentence with the subject, then the verb, then the object, and complete the sentence. But in passive, we start with the object, then the verb, then the subject, and complete the sentence. Like you see here in the example, here we start with we, and it's a subject pronoun. Then need to, and need to is a present infinitive, must be followed by infinitive, like you see, need to finish. Then the object and to complete the sentence. But in the passive, we start with the object. The object here, like I told you, this word. Then the verb needs to. But with present infinitive, we must put after the words like need to, want to, like to. We must put be plus the past participle and complete the sentence. This work needs to be finished by tomorrow. Let's see another thing. Perfect infinitive. The perfect infinitive, like could plus have plus past participle, may plus have plus past participle, must have plus past participle, all the modal verbs plus have plus past participle. This is the perfect infinitive. And like I told you before, we use the active like this: subject and the modal verb plus have plus past participle, then the object, then complete the sentence. But when we wanted to change it into passive, we start with the object, then the modal verb, the same modal verb in the sentence, then have plus been plus past participle, then complete the sentence. Like you see in the example, he could have bought, and bought is the third form of the word buy, bought the tickets earlier. When we wanted to change it into passive, we start with the object, and the object here in this sentence, the tickets. Then we use the same modal verb, could, the tickets could have, and because it is a perfect infinitive, we must use have plus been plus past participle from the verb buy. The tickets could have been bought earlier. Another example or another thing in the active and passive, the modal verbs but not perfect infinitive, like I told you before. The modal verbs in present, we use the modal verbs can, may, must, should, will, would, all the modal verbs, and followed by the infinitive. This happened in the active voice. But when we wanted to change it into passive, we must use the same modal verb, and after it we must put be plus past participle. Like you see in the example, you must take him to hospital. This is an active sentence or statement because it starts with subject, pronoun you, and the modal verb must, and the infinitive take, and the object then complete the sentence. But here, when we wanted to change it into passive, we start the sentence with the object, and the object, like I told you, is him. But when we wanted to start a sentence with the pronoun him, we must change it into he. After that, we put the same modal verb must. Then, like I told you, put be plus past participle from the verb take and complete the sentence. So the sentence in passive must be like this: he must be taken to hospital. The last thing in our lesson for today is the ing form. You took before some words that followed by ing form or verb plus ing, like the word hate or like or stop or enjoy. So in the active, we start with the subject, like I told you, then the word that followed by the gerund or ing. Like you see, I hate people staring at me. When we wanted to change it into passive, we must start with I hate, it's similar to the active I hate, but we must put being and the past participle from the verb stare. I hate being stared at. Okay, my dear students, this is our lesson for today. In the end, I'd like to thank you for your follow, and I hope you know differences or differentiate between the active and passive voice. Thank you, and wait me in the next video with exercises page 19. Goodbye.